My third one is retention. And it's not that none of us think about it. It's not that we don't focus on it, but I will tell you, when I started CityTurf and when I started Service Autopilot, not that we got it right or got it perfect, but the focus from the beginning where I was willing to sacrifice margin was quality and customer service as best we could. Again, we didn't get it right all the time. None of us do, but that was really an area where we spent money, and it plays directly into retention. And I think it also builds brand in the long term, which is not where we're going here. It just pays massive dividends for a long time, but it truly does cost you money to be really good and have really good people and be really good at customer service, as I said. But the way it pays is so unbelievably important as the business starts to get bigger. So you just kind of imagine the scenario where if in your market, pretty typical churn, number of people leaving because they're selling their homes or whatever's happening in that market, plus people get divorces, plus people lose their jobs, plus people will get mad at you no matter how good you are most of the time. Like, just let's, for an easy math, say there's just not much you can do to get around losing 20% of your clients. As the business gets bigger and bigger, I just think about what that means. That means, if you kind of think about the business you have now, how hard is it just to grow 20%? Like, that's hard. And that gets harder and harder as the company gets bigger. But if you have bad retention, you have to first do the equal. Like, if you lose 20% of your clients, the math is wrong here, but it'll just make a very simple point. If you lose 20% of your clients, the first thing you have to do next year is grow the business by what feels like 20% just to get to break even. And then you got to grow it by another 20% just to get the 20% growth. That math doesn't work, but you get the idea. That is hard. When you've got 100 clients and you lose like 10, 15, 20, it's like, that really is a bummer, but it doesn't feel as bad as having to replace hundreds, or someday, if you get really big, thousands of clients a year just to get to break even, to then need thousands more to grow the business. And so this is a thing the things that get you retention, quality, customer service, will pay dividends massively. It'll drive down your marketing spend in the long term. It will make selling easier. It will make growing the business easier. It'll make the quality of your brand better, which makes selling easier, which makes your marketing work better. There's just so many, the things that it takes, as I said, to get higher retention just pay in so many ways. And so it's worth thinking about this as early as you can in the business.
Yeah, it was amazing. We just recently have got all this churn data. So I've been geeking out about it. Probably the best metric that I was most proud of is the fact that a year ago, our 90-day churn, I'm not proud of it. It's really bad.
Wait, which company are we talking about?
Oh, Augusta. So all the system-wide metrics we pull in. So system-wide, again, not proud of this number. A year ago was, in the first 90 days, we lost 20% of customers, 20.8% of customers. Not good. In the first 90 days of setting up a recurring service. But with all the work put towards it, this year, it's 10.2%. So basically,
that's a massive change.
Half, all right? And so what's challenging is describing how amazing that is. It's like, that is gargantuan, but it's so much, it's so much more fun and exciting to go after customer acquisition cost, new customers, get more customers. But until you get to this $1 million market like we're talking about today, that's when you start feeling the effects of churn. Because if you have 300 customers and you churn, let's just call 30% a year, you have to go out and get 100 new customers every year just to stay flat. And now let's assume for a minute that you don't have enough referrals or word of mouth or SEO coming in. You're gonna have to go pay for that. Like, it does show up on the P&L. It just regurgitates itself up on the advertising and marketing spend to be able to replace your churn. And so seeing that number has been so eye-opening for, I think, a lot of our owners, but really being able to understand the impact of churn. And more importantly, even some of the things we talked about, like making decisions to add more services because I can't get to 1 million. Is that the problem? Or is it the fact that you have 20% churn? And if we just solve that, you'd immediately double the business. Again, it's always a math equation. You can just take how much recurring revenue is coming in, new customers, divide that by your churn rate every month, and you have where you're gonna stop growing. And so, yes, you could double how many new customers you get, I think for most people, focusing on reducing their churn by half would allow the exact same outcome with probably less expense.
Tons less. Yeah, you'll have more margin.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. If you've built a $1 million home service business, but you're struggling to get to the next level at $10 million in annual revenue, I've created a private community just for you. It's called Home Service Boardroom, because what got you to $1 million is all the work, the hustle, the grind, figuring out your leads, your website. But what gets you from $1 million to $10 million is learning the skill of leadership, finding other great talent and managers to work for you. If that's of interest, go check out mikeandy.com/school or see the link in the description.